If everyone could go ahead and mute their microphone, that would be great. Um, can you guys see me? Okay, perfect. So welcome. We're so excited to have everyone join us tonight. We have a record registration and attendees, so we're super excited for tonight's LEAP series. So ABCD, after breast cancer diagnosis, puts on these LEAP, so learn, engage, and persevere every other month. And we're so excited for you to join us tonight. We are welcoming our special guest, your happiness Sherpa, Susan Hall. So Susan, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. We're so excited to hear from you and hear all about the great things that you have to share. So Susan is a keynote speaker. She's a coach, and importantly, the author of Decide Happy, a practical guide for less stress and more joy. And tonight she's going to talk about dealing with a health scare and how we handled that. So Susan, thank you again for being here. Take it away.
Oh, great. Thank you, Carrie. And I have been so excited to be with all of you wonderful, strong-hearted people this evening. You know, this is a club that I think none of us ever wanted to be a part of. It'd be much more fun to be a meeting of the worldwide chocolate tasters or beach house dwellers. But I have to say, I'm so grateful to be with you tonight because while none of us maybe signed up for this, I have to say the people that I've met along my journey are some of the most extraordinary, resilient, strong-hearted people that I've met throughout my entire life. So they call us survivors, but I want you to not only survive, I want you to thrive. And so tonight, I want to pack in as many tools and as many tips as I can to help you feel less stressed and more joy, regardless of what may be going on in your life. So, how's that? Everybody in? Throw me a thumbs up if you're in. So, wonderful. Great. So, first, a little bit of background on me. Um, I am not a doctor. I am not a therapist, and I am not a psychologist. My expertise is helping busy people learn skills to thrive in their lives. And specifically, with almost 30 years in the professional talent development industry, I had developed a pretty strong skill set for helping people navigate difficult times and change. I teach these skills to other people. So I really felt like, you know what? I think I kind of have this life thing in control, you know? I got it. Whatever happens, I got this. And then my world turned upside down. So are you seeing a screen? Yes. So in 2016, I was diagnosed with an exceptionally rare 1 in a million type of bone cancer, which resulted in the amputation of my tailbone, 2.5 adjoining vertebrae, and the accompanying nerves in my lower spine. 6 weeks after that, my husband, Tim, also healthy and fit his whole life, ended up in the hospital for a life-saving heart procedure. 8 weeks after that, while we were on a getaway celebrating progress in our recoveries, I was in a freak accident and shattered my shoulder, separating the ball from the shaft and splintering it into pieces. That was also the year that my father, while my mother was recovering from knee replacement surgery, slipped, had a neurological incident, which rendered him paralyzed from the waist down and permanently in a wheelchair. And my beloved dog, Chili Pepper, startled on a walk, slipped his collar, and ran out into the path of a speeding SUV, which struck and killed him instantly. The driver never stopped. In 1 year, I experienced the greatest fear, the greatest pain, and the greatest sorrow in all of the decades of my life leading up to it. It was too much. Have you ever felt the weight of too much? Throw me a heart if you have. I know you have. And that year, I had to use every emotional muscle I had and quickly grow some new ones because there were times that year when this get up and go optimist struggled to get out of bed. And to do that, I had to train my brain and focus on anything that I could to bring some happiness and joy during a really dark time. I learned a lot that year. Here's what I learned. Number one, happiness is a constant decision, right? We all know that one person who can walk through fire with their grace in their heart and their head held high. I'm betting everyone on this call tonight has been that person. But we also know that person who has let hours of the day crumble into rooms because the traffic got snarled or the flight got canceled or that snarky comment from their spouse or teenager over breakfast struck a nerve. I'm betting we've all been that person too. For any one of us at any time, it can be a toss up, right? So I tell a story in the book Decide Happy about how one evening my husband and I went out for dinner and I had skipped lunch to work. So I was in full blown hangry mode, just whining and complaining about how long it was taking the server to come and take our order. And my husband finally looked at me and said, um, aren't you writing a book about happiness? And I said, I know what to do to feel happier right now. I just don't want to. We can't be happy all the time. We are complex creatures with a full range of emotions, 27 plus, according to studies by UC Berkeley. And our job as human beings is to feel all of them. But when we get tired of feeling angry or afraid or overwhelmed or frustrated, we can decide and do a few things differently to feel differently. I'm not saying it's always easy. Second, happier people take specific actions consciously and oftentimes unconsciously to consistently do things a little bit differently to achieve this desired emotions. I learned a long time ago that happiness is a set of daily rituals and habits. So, tip number one, be conscious of those little things that make you happy during the day, whether it's brewing a special cup of coffee and drinking it out of your favorite mug, waking your pets or your animals up, curling up by the fire, whatever it may be, notice those things and do them more, right? Not so complicated. Third, happiness takes practice. Sometimes when life is rolling right along the way we want it to, it can feel easy to feel happy. But sometimes, as we all know, it is really hard work. The best metaphor that I can think of for developing a happiness resilient mindset is that it's like a muscle. So put it in the chat. Do you get to go to the gym once and get the body that you want? Put it in the chat. Do you get to go to the gym once and get the body that you want? No, wouldn't it be great? But no, it doesn't work that way. We have to keep working at it. Some days we work more successfully than others. Now, Decide Happy is not all unicorns and rainbows because, frankly, that's not realistic and it's a little bit annoying. So, let me define what I mean by happiness. First, I believe that there are four pillars. One is love and connection. We're happier when we have stronger relationships with people, with our animals, with nature, the world around us, and most of all, ourselves. Harvard University is running the longest scientific study of happiness. They're now 84 years into their research on their fourth director, who wrote a book with Oprah Winfrey, by the way, on happiness. And when he's asked, Dr. Waldinger, what does the data tell us we should focus on for more joy in life? He answers without hesitation. We should focus on our relationships. Our relationships keep us healthy and happy, period. Second, a sense of peacefulness and calm, that inner strength and well-being, that sense of I got this, no matter what's going around us. The world's gotten a little bit crazy these last few years, hasn't it? And when everybody else is running around hair on fire, we gravitate to those people who are calm. In today's world, calm is a superpower. Cultivate a sense of calm. You can handle anything. Third, contribution and making a difference, leaving our day in the corner of the world just a little bit better than how we found it, right? Giving just makes us happy. It's really difficult to feel down on ourselves when we are lifting another person up. And finally, that sense of moving forward, feeling of making progress emotionally and physically, moving forward with purpose. I bet on the days that you put your head on the pillow and you can think back to things that you've accomplished or progress you've made, whether it's progress in your recovery or planting flowers in the pot on your front steps, whatever it may be, we human beings like making progress. So, what I'd like you to do is in the chat, just jot down which of these is most important to you right now. Which of these four pillars of happiness do you want to focus on? And while you do that, note that there is nothing in here about when I get that promotion, I'll be happy. If my scans come back clear, I'll be happy, because that puts our happiness somewhere into the future, often on things that we can't control. And what I want you to do is focus on what you can do on any day, moving forward, making a difference, peace and calm. These are great, peacefulness and calm. I think we definitely all want that, certainly. So here's what I'd like you to do. Grab a piece of paper and write down just one thing that is feeling heavy or overwhelming to you. And we're going to work on that tonight. I'm not going to ask you to share, but we're going to work on that one thing that's feeling heavy or overwhelming. All right, I'm going to stop share here for a moment. So here's what I'd like to do. I would like each of you to look around your space and notice everything in the room that is gray. Okay. And we'll take silver too. So look around, look at the fixtures, look at the walls, look at the artwork, anything around you that might be gray or silver. You can look at maybe the hair on some of the people on our call tonight, right? Just notice anything that's gray or silver. Look around. All right. Now, what I want you to do is close your eyes. And with your eyes still closed, remember everything in your room that you just looked at that was blue. Ooh, Susan, you're tricking us. Okay, remember everything that was blue. Okay, remember the walls, the art. Now open your eyes and I want you to look around your screen, the room, everything that was blue. And give me a hands up, either a real one or a virtual one, an emoji, if you saw more blue this time when you looked around than you did in your mind's eye, trying to remember that. There was more blue there all the time, right? But nothing changed. The only blue is my shirt. Well, actually, I'm blue. We've got blue in the background, right? Keisha's wearing blue, so it's everywhere. Now, here's why I do this. We do this in life. How is it that the blue was there all the time, but we never saw it? Thumbs up, Charmaine. It's because our brains are selective little buggers. In fact, as much as we think we can multitask, it is a fallacy. Neurologists will tell you that when we're multitasking, we're really task switching. Our brain can only really truly focus on one thing well at a time. So you're focused on one thing, but you're not looking at the other. And so here's the challenge with that. We focus on the traffic or the jerk who cut you off in traffic and not the technicolor sunset unfolding in front of you. We focus on all the things we have to do during the day and not that one person sitting right there in front of us. We focus on all of the horrors of the headlines and not all of the wonderful things that are going on every day, all of those moments of grace. If we only noticed it, we focus on the gray and not the grace. And so you may be thinking, well, it's easy for you to say, right? I mean, there's a lot of gray in our world right now. There's a lot of negative news. So, how do we shift our focus from gray to grace? The best way to shift your focus that I found is to ask yourself a better question. So, when your brain hits you, well, this stinks, you can ask yourself, What's good about this? Is there something I can learn from this? Is there a gift in this? And I know we have a lot of cancer survivor thrivers on this call today. And believe me, when I got my diagnosis, there was no gift. It was all gray. But even then, when I was recovering, I knew that it was bringing me closer to my loved ones. People were coming out of the woodwork for me. And looking back, I would not be on this trajectory that I'm on tonight. I wouldn't be with you lovely people this evening if it hadn't been for that experience. There's always moments of grace. Another question you can ask yourself is, what can you do? So often, especially when it feels like the world is out of control, we think of all the things we can't do. But what can you do? Right? I had a moment the other day. I had a little pity party for myself because a friend of mine was talking about going horseback riding. And I used to love to do that. I used to love to ski and rollerblade. And because of my injuries, I'm not able to do that anymore. So I switched it to, rather than having a pity party and getting sick of myself, what can I do? Well, I can paint, I can write, right? I can meet with fabulous people, I can hug my loved ones, I can hold a glass of wine. What can we do? There's a lot of things we can do to be kind in our world right now, too, even when it feels uncontrollable. And then the grand poobah of all focus switching questions: what are you grateful for? Right? What are you grateful for? It's hard to feel down when you're feeling truly grateful. So think about this. I mean, I used to believe that gratitude, or I used to believe that courage was the antidote to fear, but I was wrong. Courage means feeling the fear and stepping up anywhere. I truly believe that gratitude is the answer to fear. And where we build that happiness gratitude muscle is in being grateful for the little things, right? Those twinkly lights on the balcony or the patio, cappuccino crunch ice cream, time with a friend. So, what I'd like you to do is in the chat, give me some examples. What are you grateful for? What are these small things? Is there something that you're grateful for today? Maybe just a small moment that was important to you. So, put that in the chat. What are you grateful for? Yeah, and I love this too, Claire, right? Always try to feel grateful. It's a matter of perspective. There's always people who don't have as much as we do. Smiles, I love that. Morning coffee, matcha latte, good health, network of girlfriends, cat cuddles, fresh blueberries. Aren't they the best? And they're so good at the farmer's market right now. Oh, a wedding, exciting, beautiful summer days, sunshine, rain. These are fantastic, right? Family time. Library books, yay, books. Right, fantastic. Granddaughter accepted into college. That's fabulous, Teresa. So what I'd like you to do is on your paper, that thing that was feeling heavier, is there a question you could ask to shift your focus on that? Is there something you could learn from it? Is there a gift in that? Is there something you can do? Something you're grateful for? Just jot that down, okay? Fuzzy slippers, funny. Love that, Suzanne. So here is another question, and I think this is one of the most powerful questions we can ask ourselves, and also the most dangerous, but it can shift our focus from fear and limitations to strength and possibilities. And that question, and we all know it, is what if, right? What if? And the reason that I say it's dangerous is because we can let ourselves go down that what if spiral. And there's those little niggly what ifs, like, what if I miss my exit, right? What if I can't find parking? What if I can't get tickets for the show? What if I mess up the presentation? What if they don't call me back? But then there's those big what ifs, right? What if I lose my job? What if I can't pay my bills? What if the cancer comes back or spreads or grows? I remember when I was first diagnosed, it was as if every coping mechanism and stress management skill I had ever learned through went right out the window. And my what ifs were just spiraling to the point where I was having panic attacks, which I now know are a real thing. right? It's astounding how quickly our brains go dark if we just let them run roughshod on us. Now, we can't really blame our brains, right? Our brains were designed to protect us and keep us alive. Do we have any biologists, psychologists, neurologists on our call today? Um, you may be familiar with the word amygdala. So, the amygdala is this tiny little powerful part of the brain. It's about the size of a shelled peanut, and it's in charge of the fight or flight reaction. What its job is to do is to get you to move. So, when that jerk cuts you off in traffic, your amygdala floods you with cortisone and adrenaline to get you to swerve out of the way quickly. The challenge is that little hypervigilant guard dog wants to work all the time, even when there's not really a real risk or threat, right? So we have to learn how to tame down that amygdala sometimes and manage our spiral of what ifs so we can focus on logic and moving forward. So show of hands, virtual or real, anybody else here have scan-xiety? That comes up whenever it's 3 months, 6 months, a year, whenever it is, right? Where you can, you know, you're at that crossroad, right? Depending on your scans, your life may be taking a detour. So, so one of the best tools that I've learned for managing skin anxiety is flipping your what if. So when your brain hits you with a negative, what if cancer comes back? Flip your what if to focus more positively. So, what if instead of stressing out, I remember that I am in great medical hands. They're watching me like a hawk, and I enjoy these next few days. What if I remember that I'm doing everything that I can within my control, and everything else is up to faith, right? What if I remember that I have the resources to help me? I have a phenomenal medical team. What if I remember that I don't have to do this alone? So, ABCD, I was just watching on the slides, you have what, close to 300 mentors now? Even if you don't have a loved one there with you, you have phenomenal resources with ABCD. I My life changed immeasurably when I flipped my what if from focusing on the cancer to what if I focused on contribution? What if I could use my story to help other people, right? What if I could make a difference? Our world is full of ordinary people doing extraordinary things because they flipped their what if. So I'm curious from the group, and if you can put this into chat, what are some of the other things that you do to manage scanxiety, right? What are some of the things that you can do to manage scanxiety? And Susan, I love your question. I'm happy to talk with you. I know that Carrie, Keisha, and ABCD are happy to talk to you about how you can help. I'm a mentor. By the way, the type of bone cancer I had was called chordoma. And I'm a mentor now, and my mentor was a huge source of comfort to me. So this is good. Mentor others, walk in nature, reschedule appointments. I'm assuming you don't mean your medical appointments, right? Read up, right? Tell my anxiety to go F itself, right? Play the piano, listening to worship music. Fantastic. It's going to, yeah, you're going to get the scan results anyway, right? They're just showing you what's already there. You can do something for yourself. Exercise, right? Put together 1,000-piece puzzle. Wow, that sounds like a waterwork. Buy stupidly expensive coffee. I love it. I love it. Another thing that I do is I started an inspiration album on my phone with just little memes and quotes and funny things that make me smile. Just scroll through it whenever I'm feeling stressed. Those are all fantastic ideas. Wonderful. So I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. And so, what we've talked about so far is that our brains skew gray over grace. They were wired to be that way. So we have to work extra hard to shift our focus from gray to grace. And the best way to do that is to ask ourselves a better question. And the best focus changing question is, what am I grateful for? Exactly. We also talked about how you can, when you start that spiraling of what ifs, just catch yourself, remember it, and flip your what if. By the way, my favorite what if is, what if it all works out, right? What if it all works out? So I want to move to a different skill. And because I think that a lot of us are feeling overwhelmed at this point, are we not? Right? So let's talk for a minute about a bad day. Right? Now, we've all had that bad day where we get that phone call or we get that report, and that, man, that rocks our world. But I would say that most of the time, our bad days are the little things, right? The Wi-Fi's down. You're late for a meeting and the gas tank is on E. Put it in the chat. What are some of the other little things that happen that make for a bad day? Those small things that just add up. Big little things, exactly. They feel big at the time, but they're really little. What are some of those other things? The dog or the cat throws up on the carpet, right? Forgetting your appointments, right? Increased bills or costs of things, definitely. Out of coffee. Coffee is popular this evening. A bad night's sleep, definitely. Feeling inadequate. Never ending to-do list. Hot flashes and teenagers, two of my favorite little things. Definitely. Didn't sleep, no chocolate. I am with you, Marie, definitely. Yeah, and definitely pain can be part of that too. Now, here's the thing. Any one of those things by itself, pain, bad night's sleep, teenagers driving you crazy, no coffee in the morning, can be annoying and frustrating. But you start stacking them up on top of each other, right? You're already late for a meeting. There's no coffee in the morning. You didn't have a good night's sleep. All of a sudden, you've got a bad day, right? I have a theory that I believe a lot of the stress that we are experiencing these days is due to stacking. And I found that when I'm hyperventilating, it's rarely one thing, it's usually multiple things. So put this in the chat. When things start stacking up heavy and deep on us, how do we dig ourselves out of a stack? How do you dig yourself out of a stack? Put that in the chat. Take a walk, take a nap. Absolutely. Ice cream. Wonderful. These are great. What else? Gratitude journal. Love it. I'm even more basic than this. These are all great examples, but how do you dig yourself out of a stack? Okay. Pray, pause, take a break. Even more basic. Breathe. You've got things piling up on you. Excellent. All we have to remember is that we don't have to do it all at once. We don't have to figure it all at the same time. And we don't have to do it by ourselves. We just have to take the first step, right? So none of us intentionally want to create more stress for ourselves, but we do unconsciously because we stack up all the things in our day with our health, all the things we have to do, right? And then we stack up all of our loved ones' problems and what's going on with them. Then we stack up the things at work, and then we stack up the world. And oh, no wonder we're all feeling breathless, right? So here's a great way to handle that stack. One is identify what's the biggest rock in the stack. There usually, if you think about it, there's usually just one thing. And what is one thing you can do that's within your control to begin chipping away at that biggest rock? And make it a fast action. And when I say fast action, I mean make it fast, make it doable. Don't overthink it. If we overthink it, we're not going to move forward. It's just going to keep spiraling in our heads. Taking action is what shuts that fear and spiral down, right? And then finally, progress over perfect. Progress over perfect. So that thing that was weighing heavy on you tonight, or that's weighing heavy, what is the biggest rock in that stack? There's usually one thing at the center of it. What's one thing that you can do that's within your control one fast action you can take. And if where are my perfectionists? I know we're all here, right? Perfection is the enemy of great, but it is also the enemy of action. So it doesn't have to be perfect, and write that down. Okay. All right. And I know I'm moving quickly here, but we're recording it, so we'll definitely be sharing this out. Great. And wonderful. And I appreciate some of the questions that are coming through chat. We're going to have a little Q&A at the end. And by the way, I'm willing to stay on longer if anybody else wants to. But we'll have a Q&A and be happy to address all questions because you've got some really good stuff here. So here's what we have covered so far, right? We talked about how our brains skew gray. We have to consciously work because that amygdala is working overtime. The best way to shift our focus from gray to grace is to ask ourselves a better question. The best question is, what am I grateful for? We talked about scan-xiety, and we can flip our what if to a positive what if, right? What if it all works out? So we have to remember to do that. And you came up with fabulous ideas for how you handle scan-xiety, which we're going to keep in the chat. And we don't have to have it all figured out at once. We don't have to do it all. We just have to identify the biggest rock in the stack, take one step. What's one thing you can do that's within your control? One fast action, progress over perfect. Okay. So, what I would like to do is share another tool. We've been talking about how to shift your focus, how to unstack stress. I want to share a tool for stacking up more joy on any day, and I call this Rise and Shine. So, does this ever happen to you? Show of hands if it does. You wake up in the morning, and while you're still in bed, you start stacking up all of the stressful things ahead in your day, right? You start stacking up, I've got my doctor's appointment or this scan, or this isn't going well. And I've got carpool, and I've got to remember got to get the kids after soccer practice today. And I have to call the plumber to fix the faucet and pay the mortgage. And soon you are stacked and stressed up, and you are not even out of bed, right? Who's with me? Right? We've all done it. I've even heard stories, folks, of people who, while they're still in bed, reach over to the nightstand, pick this up, right? And start checking email or social media or news before you're even out of bed in the morning, right? These first few moments of the day are precious. They are yours and yours alone. As soon as you start responding, as soon as you start checking email, you are in react mode. You are in response mode. So I want to share you this quick little reset to help you set your day up for success. And here's how it goes. While you're still in bed, I want you to decide, what kind of day do you want to have? Now, I know we can't control anything. I know there's gray everywhere, right? But decide right then that you are going to focus on the grace in the day. What kind of day do you want to have? You get to decide. You are the leader of your day. Nobody else is going to lead your day except for you. Then I want you to take 3 deep breaths. And I learned this from my friend Susan LaPlay Miller, who was delightfully on this call today. But did you know that when you inhale, that's stress, but when you exhale, it's relaxing. It's relaxation. You're relieving the tension. So my favorite breath is 4, 6, 8. Inhale 4, hold 6, exhale 8. Right? Deep breaths. And then think about, what are you grateful for? And when I do this, I try to think about, what am I grateful for in this day? Okay. And my first thing that I'm grateful for is just to say thank you for this day. And regardless of what your beliefs are, whether you believe in a higher power, you're thanking the universe, you're thanking your body for waking you up. All of us on this call tonight got to experience July 16th, right? 2025. Not everybody is so lucky, right? So thank you for this day. What are you grateful for? What are you happy about? And then, how do you want to be today? Right? How do you want to be? Looking ahead in the day, do you want to be more fun? Do you want to be more present? Do you want to be more contributing? moving forward, calm, loving? Do you want to reach out to somebody that you haven't talked for a while, in a while? How do you want to be? Anticipating the day makes it easier to show up the way you want to be. A couple weeks ago, I had my scans, and I knew that I was going to have to be a little braver that day, right? I knew I was going to have a little more trust in my medical team. And I decided that this is how I'm going to be today. I'm going to let them do the heavy lifting and I'm going to enjoy my day. And you know what? I did. And thank God everything came back clear. So I don't dwell on it, but I don't take it for granted either, certainly. So here's what I'd like to do in the few minutes that we've got left here today. I want to do this with you because I want to show you the cool thing about this is you don't have to wait until the end of the day to decide if it's been a good day. You get to decide in the beginning, but you can also use this little reset anytime you want. So even if the day has been crappy so far, you can do this anytime. So what I'd like you to do is sit up in your chair and imagine a string pulling you up by your chest, right? That will automatically put you in a more powerful position. String lifting you up by your chest. All right. And close your eyes. And I want you to decide, how do you want the rest of today to be? Take a few deep breaths with me. I'm going to count. Inhale 4, hold 6, exhale 8, but nobody turns blue on my watch. Go at your own pace. So taking a deep breath, and while you're breathing, thank your body, the universe, the higher power, what's ever important to you for this day. Think about what you're grateful for. So breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, what are you grateful for? 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold and exhale. And while you're breathing deeply, how do you want to be the rest of the evening? Do you need to be a little more loving? Do you need to be a little more patient? Do you need to be a little more gentle with yourself? What would make today, July 16th, 2025, a good day? It's the only one we're ever going to get. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Now, show of hands, who feels just a little bit calmer, right? Maybe a little more relaxed. Great. A little more focused than you were before. Fantastic. You can use this at any time. You can use music, throw your AirPods in any time of the day. A quick little reset. Okay. So here is where we are. We have covered a lot in the time that we've had together. We talked about how to shift our focus from gray to grace by asking ourselves better questions. And we have to work really hard because that amygdala is wired. It's part of our biology, our brain. It's going to kick us into overdrive if we let it. So the way that we shift it is to, is there a gift in this experience? What can we do as opposed to what can't we do? What am I grateful for? And with scan-xiety, how do we flip our what if? How can we come up with a more positive what if? Even if it's, what if it all works out? Then we talked about how we don't intentionally want to create stress for ourselves, but we do by mentally stacking up all the things going on in our life, all the things going on with our families, all the things with our community, with work, in the world. And woo, but we don't have to do it all at once, right? We just have to tackle the biggest rock, identify that first, take one step. It's one fast action. Make it fast, doable. Don't overthink it. Progress over perfect. And finally, we talked about how to stack up and more joy and set our day up for success. With Rise and Shine, we can hit that reset button at any time by deciding how do we want the rest of this day to be? What are we grateful for? What are we thankful for? And how do we want to be on this day? So here's what I'd like to do. I'd like to share some resources with you, closing remark, and then I'm going to turn it over to Carrie for a Q&A for the time that we've got. If you like these tools, I write a little bit of happy in your inbox just once a month. I know every marketing person says, oh, you should be blasting people 3 times a week. I am not that person, folks. Spam makes me sad. So if you like these tools, this is the QR code to my site. You can scan it, take a fast action right now, sign up for a little bit of happy in your inbox, and I will send you tomorrow an article about 10 ways to make a lousy day a little or a lot better. I'm also going to do a drawing. So we're going to pick them randomly, but 5 of you will receive a copy of Decide Happy, Less Stress, More Joy. This is, it's also on Amazon, so no worries if you don't get it. But I wanted you to know that you'll be submitted for a drawing. Also, reach out to me. Remember, human connections make me happy. This getting to know all of you gives me juice. So you can reach out to me on decidehappy.com. I'm also on LinkedIn, where I post just once a week. If you look up Susan Hall on LinkedIn, there are 8 million of us. But if you look up Susan Hall, Decide Happy, I am the only one. So with that, I want to leave you with this thought. A great British philosopher once said, promise me that you will always remember that you're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. That was Winnie the Pooh. Right? There are gifts in our most difficult times. I wouldn't wish that year that shall not be named on anybody, and I certainly don't want to go through it again. But I am so grateful for the trajectory that has put me on. And I think if we can train our brains to focus on grace, it'll help us get through these tough times, whether it's dealing with a health scare, cancer, whether it's our teenagers are driving crazy, whether it's a stack at work, no matter what it is, we get to control, right? We are in charge. We can't always control every event or situation in our life, but we can control how we respond to it. And I hope that these tools gave you some just simple little things that you can do at any moment, because you deserve to thrive in your life. I want you to thrive. You deserve to have a happy life, loving, calm, contributing, moving forward. And on any day, at any time, you can decide. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan. It was such a pleasure to have you. And thank you for sharing all of your gifts and tools for the rest of us as we navigate life, not only through health scares, but just life in general. So we're really, again, grateful to have you here. And I do want to open up for some questions. Geraldine, I see that you have your hand raised, so I'll get to you in just a second. I just wanted to ask one wrap-up question. Susan, what are you working on here in the future that we have to look forward to?
Oh, thanks. Well, I appreciate that question. I'm actually really excited. So I have my second book coming out in October, which is another Decide Happy book. So I'm envisioning. So do you remember the Chicken Soup for the Soul books? I'm envisioning a series of Decide Happy books. And what's unique about Decide Happy books is I wrote them for busy people like you. There's a quick reference guide, so you can go to any chapter depending on what's important to you. You can pick it up anywhere in the book. But this one, where Decide Happy is about tools for less stress, more joy, the second book is called Real Life Extraordinary. And it's about what comes next for you in your life. I truly believe that all of us can lead extraordinary lives. You don't have to be a rock star or a celebrity. And all of us can think of real life extraordinary people in our lives. And so, how do you get over all the crap that holds you back from that and steps up? So, I'm super excited about that. And I still love speaking for great causes like ABCD. And also, I've been doing a lot with corporations for their, mental health well-being initiatives as well. So, again, I'm still Carrie, I pinch myself that I can't believe that out of that year that shall not be named, I'm at 61. I'm like on this whole new path. How cool is that?
Yes, thank you. So let's open it up for questions now. If you just use the little hand raise down at the bottom of your screen, I believe it's you'll see a little react heart, and then you can raise your hand in there too. Geraldine, if you want to go ahead and take yourself off mute if you have a question.
Actually, I did not have a question.
Okay.
But no, I mean, I'm thankful because yeah, I'm glad I joined this because I am dealing with well, I'm still going through treatment. So, and I do have sponsors that I speak with, which is helpful as well. Dealing with the anxiety and the fatigue is my biggest
Yeah.
obstacle at this point.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Th-
can I and
yeah, go ahead, Susan.
so I'm embarrassed to say this. I used to think that anxiety was like either a chemical imbalance or I don't even like to say what I thought. And having had anxiety myself, it is a real thing.
Yes,
And um, so I love, is it Geraldine? Are you the one
yes,
talking? I love that you're getting help. I think a lot of times, especially women, we tend to think we can handle this on our own, right? We're used to being the caretakers for other people. And why is it so hard to ask for help? I wrote a Decide Happy blog on this, that we have to reach out to each other. And I think that breathing has helped too. As silly as that sounds, breathing is all it's cracked up to be. So whether you're feeling anxiety about a cancer scare or feeling overloaded, touch yourself and you'll probably find that you're breathing really shallow. So take a couple of those 4, 6, 8 breaths. Think about what you're grateful for. Do the things you love, whether it's walking in nature or whatever, and reach out to your people. Yeah.
yes,
Again,
yes.
not a therapist here, but
No,
those
I
have
mean, you're
helped
right. I
me.
mean, and sometimes you don't realize that you're not breathing until you realize you're holding your breath.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I find when I go to treatment, and like my caretakers, they're great. My health providers, they are awesome because at point they'll look at me and they'll rub my arm and said, "You can let it go," and you don't realize that you're even doing it until someone's touching you and say, "Hey, breathe," and I'm like, "Oh my God." So
Yeah.
I'm working through it. And like I said, it's my process is one day at a time, and I try to do it. No, think, deal with today, and tomorrow, will work itself out.
Abs
Yeah.
Absolutely. One step at a time. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's one thing cancer does. Man, it slows things way down, doesn't it? In some respects, it's kind of puts your life on hold. And
Yes.
yeah, it's one step at a time. And we can't always anticipate. I think there's always, so my third book is going to be a Decide Happy book called Finding the Grace in the Gray. And there's going to be a whole chapter on setbacks because
Yes.
we've all been
Can't
there.
wait to read it. Yes. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Thanks, Geraldine. Anybody else? I want to, um, oh, Susan asked, how did you describe fast action? Make it fast, make it doable, don't overthink it. So this next book, Real Life Extraordinary, is all about helping you to take fast action to get over the stuff that's holding you back, second guessing yourself, moving forward. Make it fast, doable, don't overthink it. We overthink it, we talk ourselves out of it. "Oh, I'll do it later when I feel like it." And then what happens? Life gets busy. Okay. All right. Um, Another one. So Janet, I think it's Janice. I'm pronouncing that correctly. There are times when others control you and you cannot get what you think is necessary. Um, there's a whole chapter in Decide Happy on control. And because truly, I felt like I was in control of my life until I got that cancer diagnosis. And sometimes you just have to give it up to your team, to faith, whatever, just follow the path, follow the process. But you do have to be an advocate for yourself. You absolutely have to be an advocate for yourself. And if you can't do it, can you find a loved one or friend who can help? And if they can't do it, get somebody from ABCD. A lot of hospitals have caseworkers who can get you an advocate. I just lectured my brother today because he's got to have a procedure. He's in a lot of pain and he's like, it's going to be 3 months. I'm like, no, it doesn't have to take 3 months, right? You got to push for that, right? You have to be an advocate. What else?
It looks like Charmaine has a question or comment.
Hi.
Hi, Charmaine.
So I'm a lifelong perfectionist, and cancer kind of kicks your butt when you're a perfectionist because nothing's perfect anymore. Even when you might be cancer-free, your body is certainly not perfect. You know, you've lost time, you've lost important moments in your life. How do you kind of, try to see imperfection as being okay?
Mm, mm. Wow. Well, first of all, I go back to we have to allow ourselves to feel it all. There's a mourning that comes with loss. I mean, cancer brings loss and it brings change. And I'm not a grief counselor, but I know enough about it, having been through it and a lot of loss, that we have to allow ourselves to feel it all. And I think the other part of that, Charmaine, is that um, I'm 61, so I get to say this now, that I've been on this earth for a while, and that I've learned that our lives are shaped less by the summits that we reach than by the rocks in our path, right? It's those deep climbs, the unexpected challenges that we never saw coming that shape us and our character. And so I would say that all of us, whether you've had cancer or not, we're not perfect, but we're extraordinary. And so celebrate what is extraordinary about you. Each of us has our own magic. Each of us has walked through fire, right? You have experiences that can help other people. You have learned some things that can make a difference. And I'm just going to say, I know Charmaine. And I know that Charmaine is paying it forward. And not everybody can be a mentor. Not everybody wants to take up cancer as a cause, but can you do some kind things for other people, right? Just realizing that I think part of this could be its own talk, so I gotta stop myself here. But part of realizing and embracing our imperfections is remembering that everybody we pass by on the street is struggling with something. Everybody, right? We're just see ours because we're in our own heads. But if we can be a little kinder to others because of our flaws, I think that makes us better people. I hope that helps. What else? Anything else, Suzanne? Oh, kintsugi. I love this. My husband and I were in Japan recently, and kintsugi is if, well, Suzanne describes it perfectly, but it's basically the legend was that there was an emperor who broke a favorite pot and asked all of the craftsmen to repair it. And they tried to mend it and mend it. And finally, there was one craftsman who, rather than making the flaws try to disappear, highlighted them with gold and made the pot more beautiful than it was before it even broke. And that's the concept of kintsugi, that we are broken, we're imperfect, but because of that, our flaws, we're actually more beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, Suzanne.
So I do see we have a couple other questions. We can continue on for just a little bit, but we're going to go ahead and stop the recording now. If anyone chooses to leave, again, thank you for joining us this evening. Look for our next LEAP series in September. It'll be sometime at the second half of the month. We have a great speaker lined up, Melissa Berry. Some of you may have heard of her. She is the cancer fashionista. So some fun things about how to feel better and feel beautiful while going through a cancer diagnosis. So again, thank you all for joining us. If you'd like to stay on for just a little bit, please do so. And please check out Susan's book, Decide Happy, on Amazon and her LinkedIn and Instagram. Have a good night, everybody.